Tales of Herding Gods Episode 75. In the previous episode, Qin Mu prepared his team for the dangerous journey to the southern front. Though his scholars were talented, none were seasoned enough to face the growing rebel forces. He spent days refining Scarlet Fire Spirit pills for the dragon Qilin, ensuring it would have enough strength for the battles ahead. His team, a mix of acquaintances and friends, worried about their lack of experience, especially without skilled divine arts practitioners. When it was time to depart, Qin Mu revealed his ship, a battered, hull-ridden vessel that seemed barely capable of flight. Everyone doubted it could survive the journey. Yet once it took off, the ship tore through the skies at unbelievable speed, leaving official ships far behind. On board, Qin Mu met xianxia and his rough, tattooed crew, former bandits now surprisingly trustworthy, who added both chaos and humor to the journey. As the ship soared, Qin Mu studied the computational canon of supreme mystery with xianxia, uncovering the immense algebraic calculations behind Dao sect techniques, from enormous numerals used for vast computations to the tiniest particles of vital qi. Qin Mu realized just how precise and intricate the Dao sect's methods were, and how even a slight miscalculation could change everything. And the story continues. Cloud-chasing pirate ship flew for over a day and finally reached Surging River. They drifted into a scene still smoking from battle. The ship slid down to the southern bank where Lizhou Prefecture had anchored a massive military cordon, 200 river camps strung along the water like beads on a chain. The river itself was a war zone, burnt masts, shattered hulls, ships drifting adrift and bodies floating in the current. Soldiers on the decks worked with grim efficiency, dragging corpses from the water with hooks, tossing them into nets, planning to bury them once they reached shore. Thick black smoke rose and the air tasted of ash and iron. Qin Mu took in everything at a glance. He opened his green heaven's eyes and scanned the opposite shore, a ruined city where bursts of divine light still flared as pockets of fighting flared and died. From here they looked like scattered embers, up close. It was clearly the Imperial army sweeping through, routing the last of the rebels in chaotic street-to-street skirmishes. xianxia slowed their ship as they neared the camp. A nervous soldier flew up, asked who they were, and then relaxed when he heard they were scholars from Imperial College. He signaled down the line. The archers lowered their bows, the tension easing fractionally, when the ship finally set down among the camp tents and marching columns. xianxia didn't linger. He told Qin Mu plainly that scholars would only slow them down. With a battle of this scale, he said, the few of you can't be much help. I'll leave. When I find black iron and the blueprint of the treasure ship, I'll return. He lit the furnace, and the bandit crew of the cloud-chasing pirate ship melted back into the sky. Chen Wanyan and the other scholars were left feeling deflated. Yun Ke looked uneasy, but the camp's command staff moved quickly. A general appeared in. On learning they were from Imperial College, hustled off to fetch the young magistrate posted at the front. Soon, armor clanked and the soldiers parted as a single figure strode forward, Yuyuan Chuyu. She was an unforgettable presence. Armored, helmet tucked under her arm, her war-streaked face still wore the powder and lipstick of a noblewoman. And even bearing bloodstains, she carried a terrifying beauty. Qin Mu bowed. She greeted him with familiarity, calling him the little brother, who had left Riverdike County and already made a name for himself. She said she had heard of him from her elder brother and that she was glad of his success. When Qin Mu admitted he hadn't said he came from great ruins, she joked that she had wondered where such an outstanding child came from and learned the answer through the court. The other scholars stood stunned. Yuyuan Chuyu was no ordinary commander. She was the young magistrate of Lizhou Prefecture in another life, a princess of the vanquished Yuyuan Empire. Her presence explained why the prefecture was not merely an administrative post but the nerve center of the border defenses. Qin Mu's casual acquaintance with such a figure surprised them all. Qin Mu asked bluntly about the corpse immortal cult. Yuyuan Chuyu confirmed she had crushed the cult, though a few remnants had fled south to the borderlands. That answered only part of the picture. She led them to the city walls and surveyed the battered streets beyond, then offered a warning. What they were seeing now was only the tip of the iceberg. She explained in calm, almost conversational tones that loyalty in these times was hard to read. The empire's old generation remained interwoven with the new leadership. Imperial preceptor wanted to craft a new generation of officials. But the old guard's influence ran deep. Yuyuan Chuyu didn't say who could be trusted. She left the question hanging with a cold smile that made everyone's skin crawl. Even Yun Ke, devout and steady, turned pale at the hint that deceit could be so near. Her point was simple and brutal. The rebellion was not just a string of isolated bandit uprisings. It was a strategy that used appearances and loyalties as weapons. She gave another, quieter reason for caution. The old monsters, formidable figures from the previous generation of martial and divine practitioners, had not yet made themselves known. The 3 old monsters who had wounded Imperial Preceptor were still missing from the field. But that didn't mean they wouldn't strike. Yuyuan Chuyu listed names and titles with a strategic calm: Passion Parting Palace's Master Chu Dai, the 3 castle lords of 3 wonders, rebel high officials, Dragon King of Dragon Rider sect, and then added the possibility that more gods and cult masters might still be hiding, waiting for the right moment to change the war's shape. Qin Mu felt a chill as she spoke the possibilities aloud. Chen Wanyan and the rest of the scholars shared that feeling. This was not merely a matter of quashing a few sects. This was the dangling edge of a much greater upheaval. The ease with which Deer County had been taken, the scattered remnants of 9 Spectres sect, the whole campaign felt like a lure, enticing the enemies to enter deeply. Qin Mu guessed, and Yuyuan Chuyu confirmed the thought, but with teeth. These were not simple rebels. This was a game of patient predators. Still, she was pragmatic. The extent of the carnage in the city showed the cost of the conflict. And she would not waste the lives of her own on needless risk. She formed a 1,000-man detachment and strode across the river with them. Qin Mu and the scholars followed, testing their vital qi to walk the water's surface, a display of control that left even the hardened general interested. Yuyuan Chuyu watched them with discerning eyes. She had earlier discovered red corpse beetles and a melted skeleton north of Tiger Sun County, and from that trace had deduced the hand of a 7 Stars realm expert of the corpse immortal cult. And she had seen Qin Mu's role in that poisoning. That moment secured her trust. She believed Chen Wanyan and the others were safer following Qin Mu than serving under distant directorates. Once across the water, they entered the ruined city. Buildings lay collapsed, streets were littered with bodies and wreckage, and the air smelled of burning and the strange, lingering aftertaste of divine arts. Yuyuan Chuyu walked those streets with the hardened ease of someone who had seen empires fall and rebuild. She told them that 9 Spectres sect, a cult proficient at masquerading as gods and summoning apparitions, had seized Deer County and left scattered remnants here. These remnants were weak but dangerous, because illusion and faith could topple morale and turn even small cohorts into threats if left unchecked. Then she looked at Qin Mu and the assembled scholars with a brightness in her gaze, not the warm brightness of praise but the sharp light of purpose. She had a task for them: eliminate the remnants of 9 Spectres sect. It would not be a simple mop-up. These enemies used disguises, false deities, and tricks that could call forth supernatural aids in battle. They would need to prepare. Yuyuan Chuyu's parting instruction was precise and final: train. Ready yourselves. And when the other scholars arrived, go forward and eradicate the remaining threat. Her gaze shone brightly as it landed on Qin Mu and the rest. 9 Spectres sect is proficient in dressing up as God and playing the devil. They say they could invite supernatural beings forward to assist them in battle. Therefore, you guys have to make some preparations. When the other scholars are here, you guys will go forward to eradicate them. And that wraps up this episode. In this part, we saw Qin Mu and his companions arrive at the southern border after a fierce battle. The once calm surging river had become a graveyard of burning ships and fallen soldiers. Here, Qin Mu met Yuyuan Chuyu, a powerful and intelligent female general who was once a princess of the fallen Yuyuan Empire. Through their conversation, we learned more about the complex political struggles within the Eternal Peace Empire, the fragile balance between loyalty and rebellion, and how the shadow of the old generation still looms large over the new. Yuyuan Chuyu's calm yet sharp insight revealed that the Southern Rebellion was just the beginning. merely the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, dangerous old powers and forgotten masters were waiting for their chance to strike. Despite this looming danger, Qin Mu's group was entrusted with an important mission: to eliminate the remnants of the Nine Spectres sect, a cult skilled at deceit and illusion. This episode not only deepens the world's sense of tension and uncertainty but also shows Qin Mu's growing reputation and the trust he has earned from figures of power like Yuyuan Chuyu. It's a turning point, a calm before an even greater storm that is about to unfold. If you enjoyed this episode or found it intriguing, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to get notifications about the latest episodes in Qin Mu's journey. Thank you so much for watching. See you again in the next video.